Okay, gang, this is a WIMBA classroom session for pages 6 and 7 in your portfolio. I always like to start my WIMBA sessions by showcasing or showing you some student demonstrations or student examples that I think really hit home runs as we do each project here. I wanted to kind of backtrack a little bit because one of the students in the class has her own design business. I think it's T-shirts and apparel or embroidering apparel and named Kata. And she was completing her personal identity package. And I noticed that her vehicles actually had the logo as a graphic on her trucks and cars. And I thought, man, why don't you take a picture of that and include it as your personal swag, your material for your page 3 of your case study in your portfolio. So she went ahead and did that, and I wanted to show you kind of how it turned out and how we're trying to capture the essence of design in place or in real world. And so here's her identity package with her logo, and then you'll see over here on this page that her logo has been applied to her truck, and she's even carried through some of the grass from the Everglades concept, which is on her business card over here onto her truck. And you can see that she did a grayscale for her car to show the logo in grayscale, which I absolutely love. And then you can see the logo applied to a couple of pieces of merchandise. So what an excellent way to use your camera phone or just a regular camera and capture your designs in real life. And as we explore projects and we're doing different things, if there's an opportunity to photograph something and use your own imagery to create these installations or these real-world applications, take advantage of it. You own the picture. You can capture it how you want to capture it, and it's an absolutely great way to build your portfolio using another skill set, which is photography. So an excellent job by Kata. I love this. I love this application right here. So while we're still on her portfolio, we might as well scroll down and showcase her amusement park, which she did the zoo, and take a look at her logo rebrand, which is just great, looks awesome. She did a symbol mark, she did a combination mark, and then she showed just the letter mark to show the study. And here's some branded pieces for page 4 of her portfolio, and then page 5 where you're starting to get into the logo applied to different things. Looks just great on the mug, billboard concept, and T-shirt. Now remember, we want to cut out these boxes so it looks like the shirt is part of the background. Now I know this is a black T-shirt, but maybe you would like to go with a white T-shirt or a light brown or a neutral color T-shirt and apply your logo in whites and greens onto the T-shirt. Something like that, or a light beige with a dark brown logo all in one color like you did on the mug here. And remember, we want to build foreground, middle ground, and background, even in our layouts, the way we do with our business cards overlapping our letterhead and then the background behind it. So you want to make sure scale and proportion-wise that each individual page explores space. Now you do that with overlap, you do that with scale and proportion, and you kind of do it with how you organize or align your elements. So maybe this billboard could be bigger to be a foreground element coming from the bottom of the page. The mug could stay over here on the right-hand side, kind of in middle ground size, and then the T-shirt could be a little bit bigger, but kind of take up this space. No white boxes wherever possible, and create a background element. So you still want to explore space. See how there's lots of negative space here, which is kind of lost space, but over here you dominate the page really well with your elements. You want to make sure that each individual page tells a story and the spread as a whole tells a story. But what an excellent job creating a brand for this particular zoo, amusement park, and the elements are there. Remember, I like odd numbers to create a 2/3, 1/3, or a balance where the viewer has to take a stance in which elements they see first, second, and third. So 3s and 5s and 7s and odd numbers like that are great for creating that imbalance with balance. So now I'm going to pop over to my populated portfolio, and I wanted to show you the students who had done the billboards last week and their corresponding now souvenirs or merchandise. Love the T-shirt, love the continuation of typography. I would even keep the organization of the elements and type and color in the billboards and literally apply the exact same ones on the T-shirt background. Good use of logo. Love it on the backpack. I love that you chose a color palette that was consistent, or you made a color palette that was consistent with the billboards. Love the little stuffed animal guys with the logos. Great little collection here of merchandise or gift shop materials that you would see using the same use of color, logo, typography. Everything is consistent. So now as we go down to the flamingo garden billboards that you remember from last week, now you have the materials like I love this little spray bottle with the fan for hot days, a little postcard, a great mug that you use the same color palette. T-shirt looks great. The little robe thing here looks wonderful, looks great. Here's great scale and proportion so your eye moves around the page, gives you depth. You might want to think about a shadow for the postcard to continue the depth that you created with the other elements. I'd actually like to see the billboards have that foreground, middle ground, and background overlap gives it to us. You can see that one's in front of the other, which is in front of the other, but they all kind of feel the same size. Maybe this board bleeds off the top and off the left-hand side and creates a more dominant space, and these kind of move around in front of them. Something about this feels about the same dimension to me, unlike this that moves your eye around the page really well. Two great examples that we continued on, and you remember my samples I gave you, which was the zoo from a student from a previous semester. Great pages 4 and 5. Now we're getting into week 6 and 7. Remember, discussion board 6 and 7, quiz. We're in week 6, so quiz week 6. Then next week, quiz week 7. And that's going to build us our next case study, which I'm going to scroll right down here and show you a student's sample, which I think is really well done, which is we're going to do a restaurant. The beauty about restaurants is that it gives us Illustrator work, gives us Photoshop work, gives us InDesign work, which I call multi-surface work. I want to make sure that when we create the study for pages 6 and 7, week 6 and 7 in your portfolio, that we have something that is multi-surface. Now, this student has created a Japanese restaurant, did a brand for this restaurant. You can do a business that already exists. You can do a fictitious business that you make up. I just want to make sure that you have a logo that is 1 color, 2 color, and 4 color. Oftentimes I get the Outback and Carrabba's and Olive Gardens and restaurants that are big corporate restaurants that currently exist, and the student creates a rebrand for them. Now, you're going to see a couple examples of multi-surface here. On page 6 of your portfolio, I want you to create the logo manual, the brand manual for the logo, and I'd like you to apply the logo to 2 objects. Now, one of those objects must be multi-surface. Now, the easiest multi-surface is either a tent card, one of those cards that you see on the table that looks like a little triangle that has a front and back, which we call tent cards, or a rack card, which you will see right here, which is what this student created. This is called a rack card. This is one of those double-sided printed pieces that you see in the front of the restaurant that gives you 2 sides of design. Those rack cards are those series of cards in the front of restaurants or the front of hotels that tell you a little bit about the restaurant. It normally has a branded image and logo on the front and a sampling of the menu in typography on the back. Now, be aware this is 2-sided. You can create it in Illustrator, Photoshop, or separate InDesign file and import it in, place it in. But remember, these are, although they're individual sides, they're together. So you need to have an element that goes from front to back, like this pattern here she created, and a consistent use of typography front and back, and use of color front and back. Remember, we're going for that idea of a triptych or 3 elements. So I want you to do either front and back tent card, front and back rack card, And another item, you can do a coaster, you can do a glass that has the logo on it, you can do a mug, you can do any element, one element that exists in the restaurant. Coasters are really fun, so normally people do coasters. You can do napkins, you can do glasses and shot glasses and mugs and teacups and anything that the logo would be applied to. But I want to make sure at least one of the elements is a multi-surface, like a tent card or a rack card. So you'll have three elements: logo, one color, two color, and four color. An item in the menu that's single surface, like a glass or a shot glass or a mug or a coaster. And then one element that is multi-surface, has two sides, which is rack cards, tent cards. Those are the two easiest. They appear on the table or in the front of the restaurant. That gives you a sampling of brand, image, and logo, and then type treatment, drink of the week, specials of the week, early bird specials, sampling of the menu, maybe a little description of the type of restaurant that it is. And this is week 6. This is what we are exploring this week, starting, I believe today is February 20th. So the week of the 20th, that will be page 6. So we'll do a discussion board week 6. We'll do a quiz for chapter 6. And we will do this page 6 in your portfolio. Now, to give you a preview of week 7, which is what we're going to create next week, starting the week of the 27th, Monday the 27th, is we're going to design a menu for your restaurant. You're going to design the front cover of your menu, and you're going to design at least one facing page or spread in your menu. As you can see that this student did, the left page of the menu would have a great shot of sushi, and then the right page would be a description of the rolls that are served. This is a multi-surface InDesign file like we are creating with our portfolios. She found a photograph of a menu that she thought was cool. She got rid of the logo that was on that menu, and then she created a pattern strip, which you can see right over here down the bottom of the front cover, and her logo. So that's kind of a cheat kind of look into week 7. We are on week 6. So the expectation level is to take a restaurant and rebrand it, create at least one multi-surface element, tent card or rack card, and then take your logo and apply it to one object in the restaurant: a coaster, a mug, a glass, a shot glass, a napkin, something that's single surface that would have your logo on it. If you do something like a coaster, remember then an image could be included. The process for printing on coasters has come a long way. If it's a menu, maybe you want to introduce a pattern that could be branded over and over again in your restaurant, like the Outback. Could be a little Outback scene with a little Jeep going over some desert area, or if it's Carrabba's, an olive leaf with the logo or something Italian. If it's Pizza Hut or Pizza Place, maybe it's a pattern of pepperoni or a green pepper or an onion or something that would be a topping that you would put on your pizza. So week 6, have fun with it. Love the restaurant project. Gives the students an opportunity to take something that they enjoy, pick something that you like, food that you like, a restaurant that you like, because that'll give you the most fun with creating your elements. All right, so have fun with it. I look forward to seeing it as we explore page 6 this week in your portfolio, and then page 7. Okay, gang, see you again soon in our